Well, my name is Maxine T. Hill, and I've been in Arizona since 2001. I've been on the Our Freest School Board since 2010, elected, and in 2013 I became its first president of the school board. I'm an educator, and also I worked in industry, so I'm able to combine both of those roles as I look at education. I am working now to have a more diverse population. Our school district is in the West Valley. It's been in existence about 55 years. It is a predominantly Caucasian environment. I have a huge Hispanic population at one school, and then I'll have at the other 4 high schools in our district about 200 African Americans. The teaching staff does not represent our population. So one of the things that I think is very important and that I have been working toward is to have my teaching population more representative of my students. And so that means that we have to look at teacher recruitment. And that's very important to us, and the thing that we've been working on. We also worked at the upper level, those individuals that make decisions about curriculum. And once those decisions are made, if you have an integrated, diverse school population, the curriculum content will be more viable for our students. So we do need, and not just an occasional. I wanted occasional African Americans in the 4th school, or an occasional Hispanic teaching one subject. Now, one of the things we continued after the EEO position was eliminated, quote, due to budget cuts. We have a quarterly diversity newsletter that goes out to staff, so that while we are not right now able to have as a diverse population in teaching, we are working toward having staff understand they have to increase their diversity and the way they look at our students and the teaching themselves in staff development. Well, first of all, I'm a Midwesterner. Detroit was home. I lived in Wisconsin 3 years, and then the last 20 years before coming out here, I spent outside of Chicago. It was a cultural shock initially when I came, because I had thought of Phoenix as a city. I understand now it's the 5th largest city, so I had no idea that it was more agricultural than had been presented. And once I came and began to be involved in the community, I began to understand that there was from my perspective, a 2-tier system. Those that worked where they used to grow cotton, and that was a shock. I did not know enough about Arizona to realize there was a huge farming industry, cotton, citrus, mining, and what have you, which meant that there was a large immigration population, being basically your Hispanics that were brought here as migrant workers and low-paid individuals to work in the cotton fields and the citrus fields. Once I understood that and became more involved in government, because I happen to live in a city in the West Valley, and then education, I am both degreed in education, have worked in education, but also strong in finance and have worked in industry. I was able to look at that economic side in relationship to what had been done for education. And once I learned what the old rules about the 5 C's, the education emphasis was on labor. Low-skilled labor in particular. We talk about the migrant workers, the farmers, the pickers, and what have you. There was a need for Arizona to move to the 21st century. And that meant the legislator had to put money into computers and the modern day technology if we were going to attract businesses that were high paying in terms of incomes for families and individuals. That has not happened yet. We know the history of our legislature when it comes to education, And part of that has to change. They have to fund education properly for businesses to be able to have individuals that have skills at a high level. Because I've retired and I'm very involved in my community, I have not experienced that. However, I am aware, because of my involvement in community, the things that particularly that impact our students in a school system that for years, and I'd like to say practice the old boy network. And that is to say, they were not looking for diversity in behalf of the students. And I'm here for children in my work. I'm here for the students. So I want the students to receive the strongest education. I believe that's staff development, and then holding our staff accountable for the results of our students. So personally, I've not experienced because of my involvement. Totally, I was a candidate for office in government, a candidate for the school board. My community knows who I am. So I've not experienced it, but for everything I don't experience, I believe others have experienced. So I'm looking for that educational piece, that when we bring up the educational level of all individuals, particularly our students, and get them ready for college and careers, then we're going to have a population that is less discriminatory.